Long ago, in a kingdom called Elgaria, where only the most gifted, most fair, and most honest people of all were guided from the realms of earth by the fairies, ruled a king in all modesty, overseeing hundreds of thousands of acres of land. In this kingdom that was ruled so peacefully, only happiness was known to mankind, and the memories of earth seemed distant. However, even though Algaria was a place where everything was accepted and good, there existed fairies who were known for their cruelty and harm, and whose malicious emotions were unknown to the people of Algaria. A few years into their rule, the kings began to feel a longing for a child, one who could bring joy to themselves and the kingdom, and to be an heir to king's great fortune. Sensing the king's wish for a child of their own, the fairies gathered to make their wish come true. They decided that while the king slept, they would draw a small vial of both of the king's royal blood, mixing it with their fairy powers to conceive a baby worthy of the people of Algaria. And thus, one day, little Briar was born. The people of Algaria were all eager to see her, but before the princess would be shown to the people, the kings followed the tradition of celebrating their daughter's birth with the fairies. The kings prepared every single part of the celebration down to the last detail, from the placement of each flower in the bouquets to the right amount of seasoning in each dish to be served. And they even sent word to the goldsmith to make the most expensive and most beautiful gold plates they could serve at the dinner. They invited all the fairies they could think of and waited excitedly for the celebration of their newborn little Briar to arrive. Through all the commotion and elation of their daughter's birth and the celebration's planning, the kings had forgotten to invite the group of outlier fairies known for their evil deeds and gloomy disposition. Finally, the day of little Briar's celebration with the fairies arrived. First of the festivities was the most delicious and remarkable dinner ever served in the kingdom of Algaria. At the close of the dinner, each of the 7 fairies chosen to protect and guide little Briar throughout her life presented gifts of admirable traits to the child: beauty, wisdom, charm, health, curiosity, confidence, and generosity. To celebrate the fairies' valuable and thoughtful gifts, music and dancing began, with all the fairies displaying their joy for the addition of a wonderful new member to the kingdom of Algaria. Lurking unnoticed in the corner of the great hall was the outlier fairies, who snuck in while all were enraptured by the 7 fairies' blessings of gifts to little Briar. The evil fairies had been angry that they were left off the invitation list for the child's celebration. But after witnessing the giving of gifts they knew to take so much of fairies' time and strength, they were even more furious. Watching the festivities go on around them, the group's leader in particular boiled with rage. In the fairies' anger, it made its way up to the wriggling, smiling child laying in the crib. Distracted by their dancing, the good fairies did not see the evil leader near the child until it was too late. The fairy cursed the little Briar to prick herself on a spinning wheel the day she turns 15 years of age, an act that will be the cause of her death. After hearing the evil fairy's curse, one of the outlier fairies members felt sorry that an innocent child is to be cursed with death at such a young age, simply because of the leader's outburst of emotion over not being invited to a party. This grieved fairy split from its ranks and made its way up to the leader's side, just as the rest of the good fairies were trying to think of a way to reverse the evil fairy's curse. Knowing the leader's methods, the fairies knew the curse could not completely be taken away, but it could be lessened. The fairy changed the curse to be 100-year slumber instead of a death after the 15-year-old Briar pricks her finger on the spinning wheel, a slumber that she can only be awakened from with her true love's kiss. Immediately after the outlier fairies were removed to a far corner of the kingdom, the king's celebration of their daughter's birth came to a somber ending. As Briar slept peacefully in her nursery, the king ordered their staff to destroy all the spinning wheels that could be found within the entire kingdom. and they made it illegal for the people of Elgaria to build spinning wheels or to exercise the art of spinning yarn. As the years passed, the princess turned out to be the most beautiful, wise, charming, healthy, curious, confident, and generous girl in the kingdom. With all the good that happened, the people and even the kings and Little Briar's 7 fairies forgot about the spell that would eventually harm the princess. And so, on the day the princess turned 15, the kings left Briar in the care of her 7 fairies to depart on a trip to survey the welfare of one part of their kingdom, completely forgetting of the fateful curse awaiting their daughter. Never having spent much time away from her father's, the princess was anxious about her father's time away from the castle. Just before midnight, too restless to sleep and without the watchful eye of her 7 fairies, Briar went to explore the huge castle she lived in. She first went to the kitchen to satisfy her thirst with some mead, and then grabbed a chicken thigh with her left hand and a lighted torch to hold in her right hand before going deeper into the castle. She passed the servant quarters, the big storage rooms, and finally reached the cellar where she had always seen a locked door in the darkest of the darkest corners. She usually avoided this place, but out of the corner of her eye she saw a golden flicker caused by the light from the remnants of her torch glinting off something in the dark corner. The princess forgot all the scary thoughts that crossed her mind and ran towards the door. Now, much closer, she saw that the golden flicker came from a golden key, which shined so bright that it almost blinded her. She turned it without thinking and pushed the door halfway open. Through the small opening of the door, she saw a woman sitting at a strange machine Briar had never seen before, in the middle of what looked like endless piles of half-burnt wood and charcoal. The woman gestured her forward towards the machine and told her to come see what amazing thing she was doing on what she called a spinning wheel. The princess, who was now as nervous and as curious as ever, pushed the door open all the way and approached the woman, hypnotized by the rhythm of the golden thread which moved so smoothly through the spinning wheel. With her eyes fixed on that thread, Briar asked if she could give it a try. Without Briar even knowing it, the woman had disappeared, and Briar took her place at the spinning wheel. The unpreventable curse, which was mourned throughout the great halls of the kingdom 15 years ago, happened. Briar pricked her finger on the sharp edge of the wheel and fell into a deep sleep. The following morning, when the king and queen arrived home, they could find Briar nowhere and soon ordered a search party for the princess. The guards, the cooks, and even the bard went out to find her. Finally, the bard found her in the cellar in the dark corner and brought little Briar back upstairs to show the kings what had happened. Now, remembering the curse and knowing that Briar's sleep was inevitable, the kings ordered the fairies to grow a hedge of thorns surrounding the castle in order to protect the slumbering princess that was only penetrable by those truly willing to save the princess from her long sleep. Briar slept for years and years in the castle, unchanged with time, and hundreds upon hundreds of brave princes and princesses braved the treacherous path to the castle and tried to cut down the thorny hedge to try to wake the sleeping Briar with her true love's kiss. However, none of them were successful. Soon the tale of the curse upon Princess Briar became a story told by parents to the children throughout the king's realm, in hopes that someday one of the children of Elgaria may be the one to save the slumbering princess. One child in particular, a princess, in a distant part of the king's realm, had heard the story told by her parents at bedtime almost every night growing up. Having begged her parents to tell the story and dreaming of being the one to save Princess Briar, she could not wait for the day she turned 16 years old, the date when her parents would allow her to embark on the quest to save the princess from her sleep. Finally, her birthday arrived, and she set out for the castle, ready to cut down the thorny hedge, find the princess's chamber, and kiss the princess, hoping that she was Briar's true love. When the princess spotted the castle so weary from her journey from the far part of the kingdom, she gained a renewed sense of strength and ran towards the castle. So excited to finally have reached the end of her journey and her childhood dream, she got to work, cutting down the hedge the same way she had heard had been done by so many other rescuers of the princess before. However, the hedge of thorns opened up for her just minutes after she started cutting, and the hedge seemed to welcome her into the entrance of the castle. Very amazed and slightly curious, the young princess entered the castle, feeling an innate sense of where to go to find the slumbering Princess Briar. Finally, she entered Briar's chamber, and seeing her lying asleep, looking the same as her bedtime story had described, she went over to the princess and kissed her, hoping beyond all hope that she was the princess's true love. As she leaned away from Briar's still slumbering form, with her heart beating fast with anxiety, Princess Briar opened her eyes with a gasp. The princess's love for Briar broke the spell. After such a long, arduous journey, the princess from the faraway region of the realm of Elgaria was Princess Briar's true love. Knowing instinctively that the woman before her was her true love, Briar jumped up from the bed in joy, ready to share her newfound love with the rest of her kingdom, especially the kings, whom she had not seen in so many years. Soon, Briar and her princess were married and inherited the kingdom. They lived happily ever after.